Darrell Sheets was terrified for his life before his shocking death, and what those closest to the legendary Storage Wars star are revealing now is darker, stranger, and more emotional than fans ever imagined. For years, Darrell Sheets was known as the gambler, the fearless risk-taker with a giant personality, a booming voice, and an instinct for turning abandoned storage lockers into fortunes. He looked invincible on television. He looked untouchable. But behind that larger-than-life image, friends say there was a man carrying fear, stress, and pressure few people understood. And now, after his death sent shockwaves through reality television, a haunting claim from a co-star has left fans stunned. Darrell Sheets was allegedly living in fear. That one statement has turned this celebrity tragedy into something far bigger than a routine obituary. Because people aren't just mourning a television icon, they're asking what really happened and whether Darrell was trying to warn people before it was too late. The news of Darrell's death hit fans like a punch to the chest. For longtime viewers of Storage Wars, he wasn't just another reality star. He was one of the faces that built the franchise into a phenomenon. He was loud, outrageous, unpredictable, and unforgettable. Every episode he walked into felt bigger because Darrell was in it. He didn't simply bid on storage lockers. He hunted treasure. He made gambling on the unknown look thrilling. And when he made one of the most legendary finds in reality television history, a storage unit linked to artwork and collectibles worth a fortune, he became part of TV folklore. That's why the circumstances surrounding his death have been so hard for fans to process, because the man who spent his career appearing fearless may have been privately frightened. According to those speaking out, Darrell had reportedly been under immense emotional strain. Friends say there had been harassment, threats, and constant pressure weighing on him. And what makes this even chilling is that Darrell himself had allegedly hinted publicly that he was scared. Imagine hearing that from a man known for swagger and bravado, a man whose nickname was literally the gambler, someone who made a living staring uncertainty in the face, and yet people close to him now claim he was deeply disturbed by things happening in his personal life. Some reports describe him feeling targeted, others say he believed people were tormenting him, and now fans are looking back at those warnings with heartbreak, because suddenly what may have once sounded dramatic sounds devastating, and it has opened a floodgate of questions. Was Darrell crying out for help? Did people around him realize how serious his fears were? And could more have been done? Those questions are fueling non-stop conversation, but to understand why this story has become so emotional, you have to understand who Darrell was. Long before the fame, before the cameras, before the auctions and catchphrases, Darrell built a reputation hustling through the world of storage auctions. He wasn't playing a character when he appeared on television. That was him. Bold, competitive, hungry, and that authenticity made him stand out. When Storage Wars exploded onto screens, Darrell quickly became one of its breakout stars. While others played cautious, Darrell often went big, sometimes too big, and viewers loved it. He'd spend thousands chasing mystery units, sometimes winning huge, sometimes crashing spectacularly. That unpredictability made him magnetic. He brought suspense to every episode. And then there was his chemistry with his son, Darrell Sheets. Together, they became one of the most memorable father-son duos in reality TV. They bickered, they competed, they made audiences laugh, and underneath it all, there was real family energy. Fans connected to that, which is why this loss feels personal to so many, because Darrell wasn't just watched, he was rooted for. And yet, even while his television fame made him look larger than life, Darrell had known hardship. He had faced business struggles, personal ups and downs, health scares, and one of the biggest shocks came years ago when he suffered a major heart attack. Fans feared they might lose him then, but Darrell survived. He fought back, and many saw that survival as proof he was indestructible. He later stepped back from the spotlight and relocated for a quieter life. He appeared to be entering a calmer chapter, less chaos, less television drama, more peace. At least, that's what people thought. Because according to those now speaking out, another battle may have been happening behind closed doors. And that's where this story becomes haunting. Reports that Darrell was allegedly frightened for his safety have cast his final months in a completely different light. Every old social media post, every interview, every offhand remark, fans are now re-examining all of it, looking for clues, looking for signs, trying to understand whether the warning signs were there. Some believe they were. Some say they missed them. Others think the truth is only now beginning to emerge. And public reaction has been explosive. Social media has been flooded with grief, shock, anger, and suspicion. Some fans have said this feels far darker than a typical celebrity passing. Others say the allegations of fear and harassment demand answers. And many have pointed to a bigger issue, the devastating effects emotional torment can have, even on people who appear strong. Because if someone like Darrell Sheets could be struggling in silence, anyone could. That realization has made this hit even harder. And co-stars have been emotional. Tributes pouring in have painted a picture not just of a reality TV character, but a deeply human man, a friend, a father, a fighter. People remember his laugh, his unpredictability, his giant personality, his generosity, his stories. And those stories are resurfacing everywhere. Like the famous storage locker score people still talk about years later, a unit filled with artwork that turned into one of the biggest discoveries in show history. It became legendary, and it fed the myth of Darrell as the man who could see value where others saw junk. That was his gift. He saw possibility in forgotten things. There's almost poetry in that, because now fans are searching through memories of Darrell the same way he searched lockers, looking for hidden meaning, trying to understand what may have been buried beneath the surface. And maybe that's why this story has gripped people, because it feels bigger than celebrity gossip. It feels tragic, mystifying, human, and deeply sad. There's also growing fascination with Darrell's final days. What was he thinking? Who was he talking to? How much fear was he carrying? And did those around him know the extent of it? Questions keep multiplying, and with every new reaction from co-stars or fans, interest only grows. Some believe this tragedy exposes a hidden side of fame no one talks about enough, because reality stars are often treated like larger-than-life entertainment. People forget they absorb pressure too: public scrutiny, financial ups and downs, online abuse, personal crises, and sometimes all of it collides. That may be part of why this story resonates so strongly, because it doesn't feel isolated, it feels like a warning. And Darrell's image makes that warning even more powerful, because toughness can be misleading. People assume loud personalities are resilient. They assume humor means someone is okay. They assume confidence equals peace. But often, the people who look strongest are carrying the heaviest burdens, and fans are reflecting on that now, many saying they never imagined Darrell could be afraid, which makes the claim that he was terrified even more chilling. Terrified. That word alone changed everything, because scared is one thing, terrified is something else. It suggests deep dread, persistent fear, something haunting. And when that word becomes linked to a beloved television icon's final days, people pay attention. But there's another reason this story is gripping viewers: mystery. Because anytime a public figure dies amid unanswered questions, speculation surges. And in Darrell's case, there are many questions. What exactly was causing this fear? How serious were the threats he allegedly believed existed? Were they misunderstood? Were they escalating? And did they contribute to his emotional state? Those questions remain central, and until clearer answers emerge, public fascination will continue. At the same time, fans have also been celebrating Darrell's legacy, rewatching iconic moments, sharing favorite episodes, posting classic quotes, remembering the outrageous bids, the lucky instincts, the near disasters, the giant wins. There was something undeniably entertaining about watching Darrell operate. He made storage auctions feel like high-stakes poker, and he played like he always had one more move. That confidence made him television gold. Even people who didn't regularly watch Storage Wars knew who Darrell Sheets was. That's impact, and that's why this loss feels so large.
because it marks the end of an era. But for many, this story also reopens debate about what reality television fame really costs, because these personalities become public property in a way. Their triumphs are entertainment, their struggles become headlines, and often their private pain becomes visible only after tragedy. Darrell's story may be another example, and it has people talking. A lot. Some are demanding compassion.
Some are demanding accountability where harassment allegations are concerned. Others simply want the full truth, and perhaps that truth is still unfolding. One thing nobody disputes is that Darrell left a giant mark. He helped define an entire genre of reality television. He turned abandoned lockers into primetime drama. He built a fan base spanning generations, and even in death, he has people riveted. That says something, because very few reality stars remain this culturally memorable. Darrell did. And now every tribute seems to emphasize the same contradiction. He looked fearless, yet may have been deeply afraid. And that contradiction is heartbreaking, because it reminds people how little we truly know about what others carry, even people we think we know from television, especially them. And while this tragedy has shocked viewers, some say perhaps the most important thing is what comes next, remembering Darrell not just through the mystery of his death, but through the life he lived, the risks he took, the entertainment he gave, the laughter he brought, and the legend he became. Still, the darker questions won't disappear because they're too disturbing, too emotional, too unresolved. And that's why this story continues dominating conversation. Some believe more revelations may still emerge. Others believe what's already known is tragic enough. Either way, people are watching, listening, waiting. And in the meantime, Darrell's final chapter has taken on almost mythic intensity. A gambler, a television legend, a man said to have been living in fear, and a death leaving haunting questions behind. It almost sounds like a Hollywood script, except it's painfully real, and the emotional weight of that reality is what has made this story impossible to ignore. But there's another side to Darrell that fans keep bringing up, the dreamer. Because for all his bravado, Darrell represented something people loved believing in, that hidden treasure might exist, that ordinary people could stumble into extraordinary fortune, that a dusty, abandoned locker could change a life. That fantasy was part of his magic, and Darrell sold it better than anyone. Every bid felt like destiny. Every gamble felt personal. And maybe that's why his story now feels so cinematic, because even in tragedy, it carries suspense, emotion, myth, and unanswered mystery. Fans have also revisited some of Darrell's biggest on-screen feuds and unforgettable moments, remembering how often he stole the show. Whether clashing with rivals or celebrating huge wins, Darrell made reality television feel alive. He was chaos and charisma wrapped together, and sometimes outrageous personalities leave the deepest absence because silence feels louder when they're gone. And many fans say that's exactly how this feels. A huge voice suddenly missing, a giant presence gone, and a sadness nobody expected. Some people have even compared this moment to the loss of other reality legends whose deaths forced audiences to see beyond entertainment, to remember there were real people beneath the edited personas, real fears, real pain, real vulnerability. That may be one of the biggest lessons emerging from all this, that icons can struggle, that tough men can be scared, that fame doesn't protect people from suffering, and that what looks like strength may sometimes be survival. Powerful thoughts, painful thoughts, necessary thoughts, and all part of why Darrell's story has become bigger than celebrity news, because it touches something universal: fear, loss, legacy. The things people hide, and the questions left when someone is gone. Some viewers have said watching old episodes now feels different. Moments once funny feel bittersweet. His laughter feels heavier, his confidence more fragile. And that emotional shift says everything. Because when a person dies under haunting circumstances, even memories transform.
And Darrell's memories are transforming from millions into nostalgia, into grief, into mystery, into legend.
And maybe that is where his story now lives, somewhere between television myth and human tragedy. And perhaps that's why audiences can't look away, because they're not just hearing about a death, they're watching a legacy be rewritten in real time, from reality star to cultural icon to a man whose final chapter may hold painful secrets. That arc has captivated people, and it continues evolving because every tribute adds another layer. Every revelation deepens the story. Every emotional quote expands the mystery, and audiences remain locked in, trying to understand how someone so alive on screen could end in such heartbreaking headlines. Perhaps that question will haunt fans for a long time, and perhaps that is why Darrell Sheets will be remembered not only for the auctions he won, but for the questions he left behind, questions that may keep this story alive for years. What was he trying to say? How much was he carrying? And did people realize how serious it was? Those are not small questions. Those are the kinds of questions that linger, and legends often leave lingering questions. Darrell may be no exception, but amid all the speculation and heartbreak, many fans keep returning to one simple truth. They loved watching him. They loved his unpredictability. They loved the giant grin when he hit a jackpot. They loved the gambler's swagger. And that joy matters, because while tragedy often dominates the final chapter, a life is bigger than how it ends. And Darrell's life was undeniably big, loud, messy, wild, memorable, very Darrell. And maybe the most fitting tribute is remembering all of it, the legend, the flaws, the mystery, the man, because together, that is the full story, and it is one people clearly aren't ready to stop talking about. As more reactions continue pouring in and questions remain, one thing feels certain. Darrell Sheets may be gone, but this story is far from over, and neither is his legacy, because legends don't disappear quietly, they echo. Through stories, through memories, through unanswered questions, and through the audiences who refuse to forget them. Darrell Sheets built a career uncovering hidden things, and now, in a strange, tragic irony, people are searching through hidden layers of his own story, trying to understand the man behind the myth. And perhaps that search is the final storage locker mystery Darrell left the world, one no one saw coming, one people are still trying to unlock. And maybe that is why this story feels impossible to shake, because it contains everything: celebrity, fear, mystery, loss, and a haunting final question. Was Darrell trying to tell us something before it was too late? Only time may reveal whether more answers emerge, but until then, fans are left remembering a television giant whose final chapter shocked everyone, a gambler who lived boldly, a legend who entertained millions, and a man whose reported fear before death has turned his story into one of the most talked about celebrity tragedies right now. And if there are more revelations still to come, you can be sure people will be watching, because Darrell Sheets may have spent a lifetime opening mysterious lockers, but in death, he may have left behind the biggest mystery of all. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.